Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Hope you guys had a great weekend. How are you doing today?
Jenny, I'm doing great. Had me a great weekend. Got the opportunity to watch The Last Dance last night. I found out some very interesting things, Jenny Taft, and I can't wait to share them with everyone.
I think I had a better weekend than anybody did because my Dallas Cowboys just won the NFC East by winning the draft over the weekend. Thank you very much.
Interesting you bring up the NFC East.
Skip, I remember you said the same thing when they took Taco Charlton. You remember on Taco? You was going to be serving up them tacos all year you was going to serve up tacos. Oh, okay.
Really? Get that in there. Okay, how about we do talk about the NFC East and everything that the Eagles actually did because they had a very interesting draft. They made the surprise pick of the second round by selecting Jalen Hurts with the 53rd overall pick. This only 1 year after Philly signed Carson Wentz to a 4-year, $128 million contract extension. So, Shannon, I saw you tweeting about this. How do you explain it?
Jenny, I don't believe there's an explanation that they can adequately give you because either one or two things are happening. Two things can be true. Either they extended Carson Wentz too soon because he had an injury history. Remember, his senior year in college, Skip, he missed half the season with a broken wrist. And then you come to find out, okay, he got nicked. Remember, Skip, he tore his ACL, missed the final 3 games, missed the playoffs. He hurt his back 1 year. He missed the last 3 games. And so this was the first year, if I'm not mistaken, maybe this year in his rookie season, were the first seasons in which he stayed completely healthy. And he's in the first year, he's 27. He's in the first year of a $108 million contract, $63 million, which are fully guaranteed. Now, Skip, I want to make this crystal clear. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts should not have been a second-round pick. I believe the Eagles shouldn't have selected him in the second round because I don't get what you're trying to do. And I've heard all these theories. They're going to have a package like Taysom Hill. I don't think Taysom Hill was that high of a draft pick, Skip. If you get a guy in the 5th or the 6th round and you want to use some gadgets, okay. But to spend a second-round draft pick, you don't spend that kind of draft capital on a guy and say, yeah, he's going to be a gadget guy. You're expecting him to play. And so it's almost, Skip, that you're betting that, nah, we don't believe he's going to stay healthy. But because you've invested so much money in Carson Wentz, you know what, Skip? That'll be $30, $40 million of dead cap. I just don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me. I believe they could have gone out and got another wide receiver or gotten a player that could have helped them this year, not down the future. Everybody's preparing for a rainy day, Well, I'm going to have this storage, but you're starving right now. What good is food 5, 6 years from now if you're starving right now? I get it. They did address, Skip, hopefully D-Jack comes back. They drafted a wide receiver. Okay, I get that. But I believe there are better needs, what they needed as a team, than a backup quarterback. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I get what they say, well, Carson knows what we think about him. He remembered the picks that we gave up for him. We gave him a long-term contract. That doesn't mean anything. A 15-carat diamond ring does not mean anything to a female if her husband is having an affair. That's all I'm going to say, Skip Bayless. All the money that you spent, all the draft capital that you gave to give up means nothing if you do what they did. And that's my point.
Okay, quick point of order. Taysom Hill was an undrafted free agent signed by the Green Bay Packers and then cut after training camp. That's the difference in this situation and that situation. The Saints just picked him up off the waiver wire and said, well, let's give this guy a shot because he is 6'3", 230, and he did run a 4.4 at his pro day. He didn't even go to the combine. And he did have a vertical of 38.5 inches, which would have topped all the quarterbacks at the combine in 2017. So Taysom Hill came out of the blue for the New Orleans Saints. And I'll tell you what, Jalen Hurts came out of the blue going to Philadelphia in the second round for me. Now, to my overall takeaway, this made me sick on 2 levels. Number one, I have told you from the start, I love Jalen Hurts. Unfortunately, on another level, I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. I have hated them since I was 10 years old, and my mother somehow brought me this pennant from a game that she went to, an exhibition game, a preseason game at the University of Oklahoma featuring the Philadelphia Eagles, who were just on a barnstorming mission at that point back in my childhood, trying to put the NFL on the map. And she brought me a green pennant and wanted to put it up on my wall. And I was like, no, I don't like it. I don't like the Eagles, and I despise the fact that a quarterback I love, and Jalen Hurts, is now an Eagle. I just can't stand the thought of it, because I told you from the start, Jalen Hurts is good enough to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League, and he is good enough to carry a team to the playoffs on his leadership intangibles and his playmaking and simply his killer will, because he will put a team on his back and he will carry it. And Jalen Hurts, I know he had his struggles at Alabama, but if you look at his overall record at Alabama and Oklahoma, he was 38-4. And he played in as many big games as probably any quarterback who ever came out of college football, when you talk about all the big games at Alabama and in the playoffs, and then at Oklahoma and in last year's playoff. So the point is, I wanted him to go somewhere where I'd say, aha, he's got a shot. I don't know, Jacksonville. You'd say, well, maybe he could compete with Gardner Minshew for the job, at least in a year or two. And here, I don't know what they're trying to say. I don't get the message, because the best case scenario I can see off the top is he would be a Taysom Hill. He would be a gadget guy. He would be a, as they used to call Cordell Stewart in his first couple of years with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a slash, as in receiver slash running back slash whatever else you want to call him, but you don't even put a quarterback on the end of the slashes. So maybe there's a package. Right. Maybe it's Dougie P, as you call him, Dougie Prediction, as I call him, fearless, who can sometimes be fearful. Maybe he's saying, well, I'm the new offensive coordinator, because remember, they thought about hiring Josh McCown, who was their quarterback last year, their backup quarterback, and had to play the playoff game because Carson Wentz got a concussion early in that game. They thought about making him the offensive coordinator, and now it's, nope, they didn't hire him. Doug Peterson is the coordinator, the play caller. He wears every hat on the football side of that organization. So he's saying, I want Jalen Hurts to be in all my packages. Yet I'm starting to wonder, do they really not trust, because I have to ask this question, do they not trust Carson Wentz as a performer and as a durable quarterback? He did get concussed early in the playoff game after he did make it through all 16 of the regular season games. So I give him that. He had a pretty good year last year. Pro Football Focus ranked him 16th. I've never been the biggest fan. I still think I think he gets a little deer in headlights in the pocket. Maybe he needs more weapons. And yet, in the end, he sort of got Aaron Rodgers'd a little bit, because they did take a receiver in the first round. But they took one that I thought was going to be a second or third round receiver in Jalen Reagor. And I know Mel Kiper was left scratching his head over this one, because they left 4 receivers on the board where I said, wait, they didn't take Justin Jefferson or Ayuk or Denzel Mims, or I could just go on. These are stud receivers. And I'm thinking, really? Jalen Reagor? And then they take Jalen Hurts in the second round. And I'm saying, gee, that wasn't a very good draft. We're going to get to my Cowboys in a few minutes here on the show. The Cowboys had a great draft. So I think the Eagles actually set themselves back with this draft, because I can't see where Jalen Hurts is going to help enough immediately to justify his second-round pick.
And that's where, Skip, you and I agree. And I was saying, I forgot that Taysom Hill was a undrafted free agent, but I was saying, if you want to take a guy, Skip, and say the 5th or the 6th round, and you want to use him as a gadget guy, okay, that's no harm, no foul. That's not a whole lot invested in a guy. But you invest, when you take a guy with the 2nd round, and I'm talking about a very high 2nd round pick, Skip, that's a heavy investment. And I don't get the benefit of the first, unless, and knock on wood, Skip, I hope nothing happens, unless something happens to Carson Wentz. Is that what you're saying? It's almost, Skip, like you're betting that something's going to happen because, Skip, you don't want to talk it, you don't want to speak it into existence, or you don't want to do things that bring this like, man, we got that guy over there for a reason, just in case, just a rainy day. Skip, I don't get it. He's going into the first year of a $108 million contract. He's 27. You invested $63 million. Fully guaranteed, Skip. I don't care what else happened to the rest of the contract. He's getting $63 million. And you take a quarterback. Skip, if Carson Wentz was 37, I don't know if I could have an argument with it, with his injury history. But a guy that's 27 and you just gave him $100 million, not even a year ago, and you go back and get another quarterback in the draft? Nah, I can't get down with this one. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts should not have gone in the 2nd round. I just believe Philly should have gone in another direction. It seems to me, Skip, they're trying to upgrade the receivers with speed. Jalen Reagor ran 4.42. We know what D-Jack can do. He still can get down the field in a hurry. If I'm not mistaken, Skip,